I sat them down in the very beginning, and they came to me, excuse me, and they said, "This is what we want to do." And I sat them down and I said, "I want you to think about this very carefully. You do understand if you do this, you know, you'll be interpreted as being, you know, going against the Watchtower and going against all that you have believed in all your life." I said, "That's not what you're going to be doing, but that's how it'll be perceived." And I said, I want you to really think about this. I said, you know, it's not something to take lightly. And I wasn't trying to talk them out of it. I wanted them to understand the gravity of what they wanted to do. Because they had gone everywhere. They had gone to the district attorney. They had gone to the police department. They had gone to the attorney general. They had gone to the FBI. They had gone everywhere, you know, with documents in hand and saying, "This is what we discovered." They were just whistleblowers. They found crime. They found, you know, a money trail. And they just thought, let's put this in the hands of the authorities and they'll handle it. And what we discovered is everybody wants a job, but nobody wants to work. And the complicated issue is, because religions are protected under the First Amendment, which basically says there has to be a separation between church and state, the government technically can't investigate a religious organization. So there's a lot of protection that the Watchtower has to hide behind. The only way the government can investigate a religious organization is if there's crime. And so I sat them down and I said, "Now you need to think really hard about this." I said, you know, what you need to understand is, you know, if you go through this door, there will be no turning back. And you'll be walking into a world of trouble. And they both sat there and they said, "We want to do this." And I remember sitting there and thinking quietly under my breath, oh shit. I could see their conviction. They weren't gonna back down. They weren't gonna back up. They weren't gonna back away. This was their choice, and they had thought long and hard about this, clearly. And I told them, I said, I want you to think about this. Take a minute. I said, because you have to keep in mind, I said, if you go through this door, you will be walking into a world of trouble. And there'll be no turning back. And they looked at me and they looked at each other for a split second. And then they looked back at me and they said, "We've already thought about it. And we want to do this. And we just want to expose this." Because we went everywhere. We went to the FBI, we went to the police department, and nobody wanted to touch this because, you know, this is a religious organization. And the Watchtower has very aggressive lawyers. And they smile and they're pleasant people and they claim to be Christians and all this good stuff, but they will come after you in ways that you have not even begun to imagine. And they weren't aware of that. You know, I had already done a bit of research in previous cases that the Watchtower was involved in, and I thought this is going to become a real bumpy ride. There's going to be a lot of turbulence. And, you know, I didn't have a problem. I'm not one of Jehovah's Witnesses. No skin off my nose. But for them, I wanted them to really understand the full gravity of what they were walking into. And they didn't blink. They didn't hesitate. They didn't, there was no fear. And I said, you could be walking away from the only life that you've ever known. And they both looked at me and they said, if that's what it takes to expose, you know, this corruption that we found within the organization, then we'll do it. And I just thought, damn, got balls bigger than Arizona.